We'll talk to the man who changed how we watch and how you play Jeopardy, James Holzhauer. He will join us coming up in about 20 minutes from now. We'll check in with Chris Mannix, who's doing double duty with boxing and also with the NBA Finals. 877-3DP show, email address dp@danpatrick.com. Got our poll question correct, McLovin?
Yeah, if you were an NFL player, would you want 16 games or 18 games? Almost 80% say 16 games.
All right, let's bring in Chris Mannix from Sports Illustrated. He covers the NBA and also boxing, which will touch on the new heavyweight champ of the world. Good morning, Chris.
What's happening, Dan?
Oh, we're just getting ready. The big 3-on-3 league with the Danettes coming up a little bit later on today.
Well, I hear Ricky Rubio is still available on the market.
I don't know if he'd make the starting lineup, but maybe there's a spot for Ricky Rubio on one of the teams.
I mean, I think we're probably a year away from Ricky showcasing that three-point shot he's been marinating for the better part of the last decade.
What happened to your boyfriend, Ricky Rubio?
I bring it up because I just saw some Spanish report where it said it's your show, Dan, that has created this monster. By the way, that every time there's like a Ricky Rubio story, I get like 25 tweets like tagged with Ricky Rubio stuff. But apparently the Jazz not interested in bringing back Ricky Rubio.
We just had a discussion, I guess you could call it, that is Andre Iguodala on his way to the Hall of Fame?
I saw some of that yesterday. It's like the Robert Horry debate, right? Like, the great role player on the championship teams. Iguodala is a little bit different because we forget early in his career how really good he was on both ends in Philadelphia. But I don't know. He's kind of the hall of very good. And if you want to create like a subsection for players like him and Horry who are indispensable on championship teams, that's fine, but I can't put him in the Hall of Fame.
Okay, what's the difference between Ginobili and Iguodala?
Oh, I think Ginobili for almost, how long did he play? 2 decades. First of all, the number of championships that he was a driving force on, and I use that phrase because offensively, 4 for Ginobili? He wasn't part of the first one with Duncan, but the last ones, the shots he made. Like, Iguodala's made some big shots in his life, but he's known in NBA circles primarily for the defensive stops that he makes and how he's so versatile on that end of the floor. Mm-hmm. So I think just offensively, Ginobili was just more impactful than Iguodala ever was.
Yeah, Iguodala was a better player. I think that Ginobili was more important to his championship teams. If
but you think Iguodala's a better player than Ginobili?
Yeah, he was better at. He had a higher level that he played at than Ginobili did. I mean, Ginobili was very good, and I think he's a Hall of Famer. I think that when Iguodala was on his own as a number one guy on his team, Ginobili was never the number one guy, not even close to being the number one guy.
I'd have to go back and look, but were those Philly teams any good that Iguodala was?
No, but he was still the guy. Ginobili, if you're the third or fourth option, what a luxury.
Yeah, but isn't the argument that Ginobili could have been what Iguodala was?
But he wasn't.
That opportunity.
But he wasn't. I'm just saying Iguodala was the go-to guy for a while, and he's a great defender. If you look at over 1,500 steals and over 500 block shots of active players, there's only 4 guys, and that's including Dwayne Wade, who just retired. LeBron is on that list, and Iguodala. So, he played at a pretty high level. I just think he's sort of had a coming out party, an overnight sensation by what he does in the postseason during the NBA Finals. Other than that, nobody talks about him.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, his defense is unparalleled that in the playoffs, just because he steps in and just stops or becomes a stopper on everybody. You can just work him on guys at 3 different positions. I don't know. I mean, I think if Manu had his own team, he's probably a 25 point per game scorer, and we're talking about him in an entirely different way. I just think his greatest strength was his willingness to accept whatever role he had and to thrive in it. And that's something I think that separates him from everybody else.
And Iguodala's doing that right now.
He is.
He's done that.
I mean, do you think Iguodala, when Iguodala came, and I forget what year it was he first came to Golden State, he wasn't the player that he was, at least not offensively, that he was in Philadelphia. It was at a different stage of his career.
No. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I think Ginobili's a Hall of Famer. I don't think Iguodala is. I think he's there because he's winning championships, that he's going to get a little bit more. It's almost like Edelman. Edelman is going to be viewed as a Hall of Famer, borderline Hall of Famer, because he's won championships. And you can't tell the history of the NFL without Julian Edelman in two of the greatest catches in NFL history. So I sort of look at maybe there's parallels there. Biggest question going into Game 3 for you is what?
Health of Klay Thompson. I mean, that's easy. I mean, he's questionable with the hamstring injury right now. And, when I hear that, Dan, I think at best he's going to go out there and play. But guys don't just – it's not like, you're playing through a cracked bone in your hand or some kind of elbow problem or shoulder problem that you can, will the pain away. You can't move when you're out there. And a team as smart as Toronto, and we saw kind of the intelligence of Nick Nurse in Game 2 when he went to that box and one, which I had never seen Toronto do ever at any points during the season or the playoffs. But when he went to that box and one, he really slowed that Warrior offense down. And now he's got 2 days to prepare for what's probably going to be a hobbled Klay Thompson. And defensively, they're going to go at him. Like, whoever Klay's guarding, they're going to go at him and try to turn him into a liability on that end of the floor and force Steve Kerr to compensate. So Klay is the wild card in all this. If he's not, 80, 85% and able to move with some fluidity, it's going to be problematic.
Yeah, I think that Toronto lost the finals, and I know we still have games to play, but I think they look back on Game 2, and they allowed that one to get away from them, and there was no excuse for that. You got a wounded Golden State team on the road, and you couldn't close them out. I think that's going to come back and haunt them.
Yeah, I agree. I look at the Kyle Lowry game. It was reminiscent of, I forget what game it was against Milwaukee when Lowry fouled out early, just making some kind of dumb fouls and dumb plays in that. But this Raptors team has shown some resilience here. I mean, Golden State's not Milwaukee, but down 2-0 against the Bucks and the Raptors rallied. I mean, I know they just lost home court, but I wrote this after the game on Sunday. Like, if you're Toronto, you did kind of kick that game away. You missed a lot of shots you're probably not going to miss in Game 3. There's a lot of pressure on you now because you're going back to Oakland, this situation, but you're still facing a wounded beast out there. There's not going to be a Durant on the floor in Game 3. There may not be Klay Thompson on the floor in Game 3. You've got to go into that game thinking you're a favorite, don't you? That if it's just Steph and Draymond, you can scheme for that, and you can try to expose some of the other non-shooters that Golden State's throwing out there on the floor. Not to mention, I don't know what Kevin Looney's situation is going to be at this point. That's another big that Golden State will be without, and they're going to be relying on Bogut, who has given them decent minutes, and Cousins, who was gassed out there at the end. I mean, I still think Toronto's in a pretty good situation here.
I would run that box and one. If there's no Klay and no Kevin Durant, I'm coming out and playing a box and one on Steph Curry.
Yeah, I would too. I mean, it was really effective.
It was. I thought it was great it just brought back bad high school memories. And I thought, no wonder Steph called it janky defense. Nobody wants to face a box and one.
No, and look, this again, it's this is why they hired Nick Nurse. He's kind of got that mad scientist mind that allows him to adjust and use different lineups and use different defenses like that. I mean, I am a huge Dwayne Casey fan. I think he's an excellent coach, but I don't think Dwayne Casey would have done that. I mean, I don't think he would have adjusted in the same way that Nick Nurse did. This is where, coaching in a situation like that has real value.
We're talking to Chris Mannix from Sports Illustrated, senior NBA writer, also boxing writer, and he was there ringside for the big heavyweight bout between Anthony Joshua and Andy Ruiz Jr. III. This wasn't supposed to happen. When did you know something was up there, Chris, that we could see one of the bigger surprises in the heavyweight history?
I mean, third round, which was the round of the year, hands down, one of the best rounds I've ever seen in person. And it's where I, as a broadcaster, and you know how this feels, I'm sure, Dan, sometimes I put my foot squarely into my mouth because Anthony Joshua knocked down Andy Ruiz with a huge left hand, the kind of left hand that guys don't recover from. So in that moment, I think I said something along the lines of, Anthony Joshua is a composed, ferocious finisher. Everybody watch this. And then Anthony Joshua was knocked down right after that. So it was not my finest moment as a broadcaster. But look, nobody. That's the big thing. Like, people that can that say Andy Ruiz is some big fat guy who shouldn't have been in this fight. I mean, that's just dumb. Like this was a heralded prospect that Bob Arum's Top Rank groomed from the early stages. He had some conditioning issues. Clearly, he wasn't as committed as he needed to be. But this is a talented guy with one loss on his resume, and that came in a world championship fight that he lost by like 1 round. So he came in with a pedigree. What I didn't think, and nobody believed, was that after taking a shot like that, he'd be able to come up and answer in the way that he did. That's where the big surprise was, and that was where the entire fight changed. This fight officially, Dan, will go down as having ended in the 7th round. It was over in the 3rd round. Anthony Joshua was done after getting knocked down and beat up so much in that 3rd round.
But Ruiz and what he looks like and who he represents, Mexican Americans, and being the heavyweight champ of the world, I thought this was a great thing for heavyweight boxing. I saw a lot of commentary to the contrary that we were looking for that showdown with Joshua and Wilder, Fury thrown in there. I said, you got somebody. He's like John Daly when John Daly came out of nowhere to win the PGA championship. You went, who is this? And this is something completely different than we've seen in the sport.
Oh, I completely agree. And that was my first reaction right afterwards. Now, I might have a different opinion if the Wilder fight was scheduled for the fall, but it wasn't. Wilder had decided he was going to take a rematch with Luis Ortiz in September, and he announced the fight with Tyson Fury for early 2020. So we weren't getting Joshua versus Wilder anyway. And there's a part of me that is still disappointed that we're, because of the politics and the greed that's involved with boxing promoters, that we're not going to get Joshua Wilder at its apex, what it could have been the biggest fight in this, at least in heavyweight division, this century. All that being said, you now have a new player in the heavyweight division. You now have a rematch that's going to take place in the fall that everybody's going to watch. I bet, Dan, that none of your listeners and everybody that in your studio knows who Anthony Joshua was scheduled to face next. It was a guy named Kubrat Pulev, probably in the UK, that nobody was going to watch fight. Now, I'm guessing that when this fight's announced, probably November, December, at Wembley Stadium or someplace in the UK, I bet everybody's going to watch and see if Andy Ruiz can go in front of 80,000.
Chris, speaking on behalf of the Nets, we're huge Cougar Pugrat fans. We always have been.
Not even close to what his name is.
He's joining us next. He's coming up next hour here on this show.
Had him booked for months.
Yeah, we've had him. We had him. Fritzy booked him in April.
Did he call him Cougar Pulev?
I think so.
Didn't quite catch that.
I think so. Yeah, I think we need to come up with a new heavyweight belt, the WTF, as we give that to Andy Ruiz. We got the IBF, WBC, WBA, and the WTF.
But you'll probably watch though, to see if he can do it in front of 60,000 crazy pro Joshua fans at Wembley Stadium or wherever it is, and you'll probably wonder, if Anthony Joshua loses this next fight, that's when his career might be over. That's when it might be unrecoverable at that point. Just one thing about Joshua. He's 6'6" and fights like a guy 6 inches shorter. If Emmanuel Stewart was still alive, he'd need to be paired with someone like that to be using the jab more than anything else.
Thank you, Chris.
You guys, Dan.
That's Chris Mannix, Sports Illustrated senior NBA and boxing writer covering boxing for DAZN. We'll take a break. Jeopardy James joins us next here on The Dan Patrick Show.
Dan, I have a theory. As everyone knows, James Holzhauer, who joins us later today on the show, our buddy, one of the great Jeopardy champions of all time, finished just short, I think like 50 grand short, 50, 60 grand short of the great Ken Jennings. This assassin, I mean, I want to party with that guy. I mean, hold on a second, soak it in, ladies.
Yeah.
That's one of the grand champions of Jeopardy. But Holzhauer, I have a theory. I think he tanked. I think he gave it up last night because he is a thinking man. He's in for the long game. I could make 50 grand a day, or I could tank now just short of Ken Jennings and leave it out there who's the greatest of all time, because he's the per episode champion, but not the overall champion in money made. So now it sets up these two players in a one-on-one matchup for $1 million, $2 million.
The ultimate showdown.
I absolutely, in all seriousness, think Holzhauer tanked it to set up the matchup versus Jennings, which we all want to see. Your thoughts?
Well, there are a lot of people on Twitter with conspiracy theories here.
Right.
I think Jeopardy James just, he lost to somebody who played the perfect game. I think that's what it was. To say that he tanked is discrediting the person who did win.
Very true. I don't want to discredit what she did. She won fair and square, but I still think that it's a possibility that this guy, remember, he's a gambler.
But if he went all in on Final Jeopardy with all of his money, then nobody would say he tanked. It's because his strategy was...
It changed.
But his strategy was sound in what he was trying to accomplish. And I think if he had gone all in, nobody would say he tried to tank.
We'll find out when it's on next.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Who would you take?
Like for a night out in Vegas?
No.
Oh, sorry.
Dan Patrick Show brought to you by Mercedes-AMG. Be prepared for whatever comes your way. It's the all-new GT four-door coupe, because life is a race. Visit your local dealership for a test drive today. We hear from James Holzhauer. Had his great run, 32 consecutive game winning streak on Jeopardy. He'll join us coming up here in a moment. Here's some stats. Here's some numbers for you. Over the last 45 years in the NBA, here are the players with at least 13,000 points, 5,000 rebounds, 4,000 assists, 1,500 steals, and 500 blocks. Now, there's a lot of stats here, but these are the players who are in that category. Karl Malone, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Michael Jordan, Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, Vince Carter, Charles Barkley, Clyde Drexler, Larry Bird, Scottie Pippen, and Andre Iguodala. Everybody is or will be a Hall of Famer. And Andre Iguodala is not done yet with this NBA Finals.
Stat of the day, stat of the day, tap, tap, stat of the day, stat of the day. Here comes that what? Stat of the day. Pop.
Last night it came to an end. Jeopardy James Holzhauer, the final question, and this is how it sounded with Alex Trebek on Jeopardy.
Here's the clue for you. The line, "A great reckoning in a little room," in As You Like It, is usually taken to refer to this author's premature death. You have 30 seconds. Good luck. Jay, we come to you first. You started slowly, but were coming on very strong in the Double Jeopardy round. You wound up at $11,000, which is pretty good, but in third place. And you came up with Who is Marlowe? Christopher Marlowe? You are correct, sir. And you will add 6,000. That bumps you up to 17,000. You're hoping for bad things. Incorrect responses from our champion and from Emma. Over to James now. He had 23,400, and his response was correct. His wager, a modest one for the first time. That takes him to 24,799. So, Emma, it's up to you. If you came up with a correct response, you're going to be the new Jeopardy champion. Did you? You did. What did you wager? Oh, gosh, 20,000. What a payday. 46,801.
32-game winning streak. James Holzhauer joins us on the program. Did you watch last night, James?
I did. I made this promise to my kid that when her dad finally lost, so she wouldn't be upset about it, she'd get a party the next day, so we kind of had to make sure she watched. And I still haven't planned the party, so hopefully I can wing it.
What was your strategy?
Well, I just went out there and tried to play my best game, and I ran up against a really good opponent who hit the daily doubles, bet big on them, and beat me. There's not really much more to it than that.
How did you keep it a secret?
I honestly thought it was kind of a fun surprise to spring on everyone. Like, a week in advance, I'd tell everyone, hey, I'm going on Jeopardy. But, it's more fun, I think, if they're surprised along the way when these things happen.
But this was February when you shot the last game?
It was March 12th.
And did you have any inkling that you were in trouble or, that you had a pretty good opponent there? At what point did you realize, this could come to an end?
We do a little practice in the morning, and she was clearly very good on the buzzer then. But, it's hard to get a grip on anyone's breadth of knowledge at that point. And, I'd say in the middle of the game, it was very clear that this is going to be a tough one. And, I better hit the daily doubles before she does. Didn't get there.
And having done Sports Jeopardy, and I tell people that there is a rhythm to buzzing in. And once you get that rhythm down, it's such an advantage. Did you find that was the case?
Yeah, I think if you look at my stats over the games, it took me a few games to really warm up, but then I was kind of crushing it on the buzzer for a while there. So it makes it even more impressive that a player can come in cold and take me out.
There was a lot of conspiracy theories out there about you, James. Did you read these?
I read some of them. I think I tried not to get into too many of them, but some of them were just funny. Talking about me finding a way to bet $1 million against myself some underground bookie, and somehow that would be more valuable to me than continuing to win on this show where I'm taking 75 G's a half hour. Yeah.
Did you lose on purpose yesterday? Let's just get it on the record.
Oh, I'm going to say no.
You're going. I'm thinking maybe, are you setting yourself up as Jennings will be the favorite? You'll be the underdog because he won more prize money, won more games. And, I brought this up to you last time, $1 million showdown, you and him, and then we throw in somebody else, put it on prime time, and make it an hour. People are watching that. What do you think?
I do kind of want to be like Floyd Mayweather and just roll up to the sports book with a bunch of money to bet on myself. I don't know. I think they'd have to announce it before it gets taped for that to even be possible. And I don't think Nevada Gaming allows betting on TV shows at this juncture. I will say my Twitter following has grown exponentially in the past day, so maybe the real conspiracy theory is that I threw the game for that.
What are you going to do? Like, can you do something based off of this?
There's a lot of people trying to hit me up with some opportunities right now, so I got to take a little while to sift through those. But yeah, I think there are options.
What was your favorite answer? What was your favorite category, if there was one?
Favorite answer was definitely when I got to call back to my Dr. Dre interview that I'd given the previous month. Favorite category, I think there was the Childish Bambino category about Babe Ruth's antics, even though I got one wrong.
But, the Dr. Dre, you took a little bit of grief with people saying you mispronounced his name.
Oh, yeah. Well, I gave this interview the month before about how my dad memorized Dr. Dre's name for the crossword puzzle, but he thought it was pronounced Dr. Dre.
We'll get you ready for Game 3 of the NBA Finals. Hall of Famer, Turner sports analyst Charles Barkley will join us. He'll join us Wednesday on the Dan Patrick Show. We'll get you ready for Game 3 of the NBA Finals with the Hall of Famer, Turner sports analyst Charles Barkley. Did the outcome of Game 2 change his opinion as to who will win this series? Also look ahead to the Stanley Cup Final, Game 5 in Boston, Blues and Bruins. Keep an eye on everything going on the Diamond as well. Everything else in the world of sports and pop culture coming up Wednesday right here on the Dan Patrick Show. Plus a few surprises you've come to expect right here on the Dan Patrick Show. Thanks so very much.
check, check, check. Good start, good start.
I was trying to watch video and just went right in between.
I think after you watch them, you're gonna be like, I'm glad I didn't really play because you're on the draft board. Ooh, orange and blue. Quite the color scheme. Oh, thank you. Very faintly, but yes. Awesome. What is this, hoodie season? Hoodie season? Yeah. Yeah. Big time. It's the big time. Oh boy, no pressure. I don't know. I think you have more pressure on you than I have on me. I love the high socks. I love these high retro socks. Then I'll be able to watch it over, right? Ah, okay. So it'll be archived over there. Okay. So it's just great because it's like it feels like you're in an actual game, and then you realize it's 3-on-3. Meanwhile, people are doing hook shots, slamming people to the ground, and I think I'm good to go right now. So all I'm doing is just the same as the practice one where I just intro it, toss it to Billis, and come back, toss it again. I can't get over the plaid. I can't get over it. He's got the high sock. That's what I mean. If you're losers, that's like, you know, you got to go with the high sock, the high retro socks. Like Marvin's doing it. Hey. gotta tell your team captain to throw on the high retros. Competition's already rolling out in the back. What? Allen's rolling out back there. He's getting ready. No. Oh, really? Yeah. See, I didn't know it. You'd like kept score? Oh. Oh. Would have been the game winner. Oh, man. I didn't know that.
That's right. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. That's right. Kobe Bryant said that. You also miss all the shots you miss. I mean, sure. Yeah. Like that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, everything. Yeah, it's on. Yeah, we're all good. Yeah, this is all about content. Selling out your opponents, counter. Dude, how's the temperature? Getting closer. Did Allen cut the sleeves off his jersey? Is that against the NBA, the AUAA uniform code? Yeah. Oh, he did? Okay.
It's finally here. Week 1. The faces you know, and some you don't. But one thing's for certain, they'll be winded. Coming up, Paul Pabst and the Losers take on Todd Fritz and the Crush. Plus, McLovins against the Grainers face off against Seaton's Big Faller brand. 14 minutes of pain for one moment of glory. This is the AUAA. This is the American Unathletic Association of America.
It's another staple in the Dan Patrick Show as we welcome you to the Dan Patrick Show Fieldhouse as it's week 1 of the inaugural season of the American Unathletic Association of America as Team Crush taking on Team Losers in Game 1. Big Faller brand will follow taking on against the Grainers. As we take a look at our first matchup, Team Fritzy, Team Pauly. The top 2 picks in this year's draft is Todd Fritz taking Dan Overlock with the first overall pick. Team Pauly going with Marvin Prince as the second pick. They'll look to kind of lead their teams as they go into this week 1 game, get the first win of the league, and perhaps get that first step toward making the run at the championship. We had a guest analyst break down each team's game. It's Jay Billis. We'll start with the Team Crush.
The Crush. The left-handed gunner Todd Fritz has surrounded himself with Dan Two-A-Days Overlock and the kid that gets breakfast, Dylan something. Two-A-Days is a league MVP candidate if he convinced the toddler to stop his borderline dangerous outside hook shot. This team will either win the league or finish in last place.
That was Team Crush's analysis. We now go back to Jay Billis for his analysis on the Losers.
The Losers. Pauly Pabst will probably make Marvin Prince and Brendan Pike wear plaid uniforms. If I ran this squad, I would institute a rule that only Marvin can shoot. But with Pauly's over-competitiveness and over-confidence, this will be tough to pull off. Pike could be a defensive stopper, akin to the late 80s Dennis Rodman. It's all on you, Marvin. Good luck.
As we get the analysis, now we break down just the teams warming up as well as the rules. It is a half-court league, so the rules are a little bit different. We do go with the scoring, same scoring as we used to. 2s and 3s, however, 7-minute half followed by a 2-minute halftime break. Call your own fouls, so there may be a lot of fouls or no fouls at all. The walls are out of bounds, and if for some reason one of these games goes to overtime, Kansas City Chiefs rule, first 3 made, each team gets at least 1 attempt to take the win as the horn sounds, and we're ready for some 3-on-3 basketball here at the Dan Patrick Show Fieldhouse. As the Losers missing their team captain, Paul Pabst running in. As they're going to shoot for the ball first to determine possession. As Todd Fritz misses the first attempt. So now it's going to be the Losers that will start off with possession. As Marvin Prince starts up top, we're underway. Quick give and go between Pabst and Prince. Gets caught up and throws it away. Brendan Pike going for the save, was unable to get it, and the Crush will get their first possession of the game. Both these teams met up in the lone preseason game with the Crush behind a dominating performance by Dan Overlock took the victory. As the first shot goes down, that's Dylan Grady. The final pick in the draft. As time is called. And the commissioner, Dan Patrick. As with our sponsor, Sport Clip, he'll hand the ball off. Good way to start off the 3-on-3 league. Dylan Grady getting the first bucket. As the mascot now walking away with the ball. Pabst going for it. Instead, they'll get a new one. 2-0, the Crush on top in the early going. As with the turnover, Grady gives it to Overlock. Can't finish. Paps with the fake, the scoop to the hoop off the mark. Loose ball tracked down by Pike. Defense chanted by the crowd. They want to stop. Paps fires. Just a bit long. Fritz with the jump hook. Claiming he didn't take it back. They're still going under the basket. And it's going to go back to the losers. 6 minutes to play in the first half. Prince driving in, kicking it out. Pike will fire from the mid-range off the mark. Overlock, sizing up his defender, Prince, now gets it over to his team captain. Fritz with a clear path, goes to the layup and misses off the left side. He gets his own rebound, but had it swatted away. Crowd didn't like that. Instead, he'll reward Overlock with the basket. So he bricks the layup, but follows up with the assist, and it's 4-0. Losers looking to respond. Prince will fire. Way too strong, tipped out of play. And possession is going to go back to the losers. It is pass-in, so they have to get the movement around. Prince airmails the throw to Pabst, and it's a turnover. Overlock gets the handoff, picks up his dribble, however. Grady gets it back up to Fritz. He'll get the screen. No hook shot. The shot instead just a bit short. He runs down his own rebound. The fader off the mark as well. Todd Fritz off to a slow start in this one. As the bounce pass goes wide once again. The Prince to Paps connection has not been there through the first 2.5 minutes. Four nothing the score. As Overlock from the left elbow sinks it. So the Crush off to a strong start. They've yet to allow a point so far. Losers hoping to change that and change that quickly. Prince, guarded by Overlock. Get the switch, gets it down low to Paps. It got knocked away by Grady. And the losers retain possession. As the initial pass tipped out of bounds. I'll tell you, Crush playing some solid defense in the early going. 3:30 to go in the opening half. And we have our first foul called, I believe, as Prince thinks that Overlock grabbed him on the curl. Prince getting the drive to the basket, lifts it up, flicks it up, no. And Crush pulling down another rebound. Still no points for the losers. Grady on the fadeaway off the mark. Prince with the hop step and turns it over. Grady gets swallowed up by the defense, finds an opening, leaves it short, gets his own rebound, and got blocked from behind by Prince. Fritz, the one-handed pass almost goes out of play. Instead, he'll fire for three. It hits the top of the ceiling. So a discombobulated play gives the ball back to the losers. 0 for 5 so far as Prince got swallowed up, and I believe another foul call gives it back to the losers. 2:10 to play. And they're still looking for a point as Pike saves it and flies onto the side. It ends up in a missed shot by Fritz and a rebound to Paps.
Pretty spirited here, Danny.
As Dan Patrick joining me now is display continues on. I'll tell you, the losers have not found their stroke at all as Overlock misses from the top of the key. As another turnover by Pabst. The behind the back pass, Overlock from the mid-range, off the back iron, and off. 1:30 to go. Losers still without a basket. Pabst gets to the basket, off the glass, leaves it just off the mark, and the Crush still holding them scoreless.
Oh,
here comes the hook, off the glass and too strong. Todd Fritz off to a slow start in the first half. However, his team picking it up. Prince looks to get on the board, no good. Offensive rebound goes to Pabst. He'll take it back out with 1 minute to go. The fake shot down low. As now they're looking for someone. Pike. Pump fakes again. Skips it.
He can make that shot.
He'll take it. And still can't get it to go. Team Pabst continuing to struggle as Overlock knocks down the left wing jumper. 8-0 the score. As the passing deflected. As the dribble bounce pass goes to nobody, flips it behind him, but it goes to the other team. That's been the story of the first half.
Ooh, good ball movement.
Overlock with the pump fake, drives in, got swatted from behind.
We could hear that from back here.
As possession.
Under 10 seconds
will
to
stay
go.
with the Crush. The clock doesn't stop. They gotta go. Pike left wide open, shoots it. It's off the mark. 4 seconds. The offensive rebound, Overlock. The flip way too short as the buzzer sounds. And the first half comes to an end with the score 8-0 the Crush.
Wow.
As the losers fail to get on the board.
Listen to this crowd.
As Pabst going us saying, we're fine. We have them just where we want them. But Dan, do they?
No, they're in trouble here. They're tired. They're spent already. Team Pabst, the losers, they're not even talking to one another.
They're not even talking. They're just trying to figure things out.
Wow.
As we go to our first half highlights, I mean, there aren't many,
okay.
but we will go to them. It was all Crush in that first half. Dan Overlock, after a strong preseason game, getting others involved as well.
And that's the first hoop of the American Unathletic Association of America.
And then Todd Fritz having a tough first half, but once again, moving the ball, finding a wide open teammate. He struggled in the first half, so it was really his 2 draft picks that did most of the heavy lifting for him, as Overlock continuing to knocking down the jumper. We go to the first half stats.
Oh,
as
this can't be pretty.
It really isn't. Todd Fritz 0 for 6, 2-a-days, 3 for 8, leading the team with 6 points, and then Dylan with 5 of his own to make it. As we now take a look at the losers, I mean, I don't really know what we're going to be looking at here.
A lot of zeros.
Lots of zeros. A couple of goose eggs. Paul Pabst 0 for 5, Marvin Prince 0 for 3, and Brendan Pike 0 for 1. So now I ask you, who's going to be the one to score this?
I'm going to guess Marvin. You know, Marvin's supposed to step up. He's supposed to be their go-to guy. Paulie might be shooting a little too much, but that might be because 2-a-days is doing some pretty good defense on Marvin.
As really in that first half, Paul Pabst, along with the poor shooting, the turnovers, really great defense by the Crush, however, they just couldn't get anything going offensively.
And they're trying to regroup here because they have to be shocked. They're down 8-0. There's only 1 minute in between first half and second half. Paulie flexing his muscles here as if that's going to show something. I don't think the Team Crush is too concerned about it.
They don't look too concerned.
No.
Dan Overlock responds with a flex of his own as they're in control. They have the lead. They're getting back out for the second half. We'll bring it back out there.
You know, we did our Sports Clip mascot. Something happened to him. He ran out of air.
Like the losers, he's a bit deflated right now.
I like that. Wow, what happened there? He still has the basketball that's going to the Basketball Hall of Fame, the first hoop made in the American Unathletic Association of America.
You could say he's a bit dedicated as the Crush will start off. As the deflection gives it back to him to start things.
Once again, a running clock here. 7 minutes, and call your own foul.
We have had a couple of fouls called so far. As Fritz going to his left side, the hook shot off the mark on the glass. And the rebound going to the losers as they got tipped away. More suffocating defense by the Crush. In fact, they create the turnover and get the ball back. Grady finds Fritz in the corner. Overlock. Gets Prince to jump. Gets to the basket and gets taken down.
Wow.
As Overlock slow to get up as he got hacked by Prince. Crowd not liking that one bit. As we take another look at that. Got him on the pump fake and then from behind.
Yeah. That's where you want the ball right back and then you want to shoot a jumper.
Instead he fades away to the corner, leaves a wide open. The no-look pass to Overlock who sinks it. There's the revenge.
And there's the reason why he was the #1 overall pick in this draft.
8 points so far as Prince trying to find the offense, got double teamed and turns it over once again. Overlock heat check for 3 off the front iron, and Prince runs down the rebound.
Paulie's got to take that shot.
After a couple seconds of pondering it, he lets it fly and misses. As the pass, the no-look pass from Prince goes into the stands.
No look to no one in particular. It's rare that Fritzy passes. That's what the big surprise was.
Prince getting the screen. No one open. He goes to the basket and lays it in. And after a 9-minute drought, the losers are finally on the board.
The comeback begins.
5 minutes to go. We'll see if this jump starts something on their offensive end. Grady will get it back up top. A little give and go. Another fader by Grady goes off the mark. Paps will just let it go out of bounds.
Dylan was trying to find shoes that match the shirt, and he couldn't. That's as close as he could get to fluorescent orange. The traffic cones.
Paps backing down the fake pass. He's 0 for 6. Elects to pass it up and gives it to Pike, who airballs it. But the ball goes back to the losers.
Still plenty of time here.
4:10 to go in the game. Prince thought about the 3. Getting the screen. Drives in. Contact. No foul call. Gets no rebound. Can't finish. The third attempt. Off again. Try again. But to no avail for the losers.
I think you could have called a couple fouls there.
Pike from the free throw line sticks it.
Yeah.
The French kid on the board.
French kid.
The lead now down to 6 for the Crush, who have become a little stagnant on offense.
Guys who are winded here.
Fritz, the dribble handoff. Grady wide open, but he dribbles it off his own leg. Turnover. But he makes up for it with the steal. As two-a-days thought about the shot. Instead, they'll elect for the ball movement. Grady driving in the paint, flips it up. No good as he hits the deck. Bodies flying in game 1 on the day. As the drive-in kick, Pike left it short.
Paulie's got to hit that. I will say the Team Crush moves the ball well.
Overlock the floater just a bit short. The kick out. Paulie, the one dribble, instead gives it to Pike, off the mark again. And the struggles continuing for the losers. Only 2:30 on the game clock.
Feel a hook coming up here.
And here comes the hook, the double team, and it's off the mark again. Hook shot has not been Todd Fritz's friend today. As Paps gets to the basket.
Nice move.
The scoop shot off the mark, 0 for 7 for Paps. As the ball tipped out of play.
Approaching 2 minutes here. Team Crush so far dominating.
Losers looking for a stop. They have outscored the Crush 4-2 in the second half. So progress, I guess you could say, as Grady misses long on the jump shot. Prince behind the line, misses the 3. Pike can't save it. Didn't want to dive over press row, I guess.
You got to want it. And
the ball goes back to the Crush with 1:40 to go. Here the team captain, no rush. They want to work it around. Instead, Overlock will pull. Bad shot, but Fritz with the weak side rebound. Overlock, another pump fake. Left it short as Pike got hit. I believe in the nether region as he's going to walk it off.
I think, hold on. He got hit in Pike's feet. Hold on.
As they're gonna.
Okay.
I think this is the low instance where we could stop the clock.
Maybe we should stop the clock. This is let me.
This is unprecedented territory. We've never had one of these instances happen. I think.
Okay. Brendan, you okay?
He's all good. Double thumbs up. We're ready to go.
Okay.
55.7 on the clock.
Here we go.
Smart shots, and instead, Gritty fires up the 3. Seems that Fritz has lost his team. Not listening to his directions.
Yeah, he's not really. Oh,
Paulie,
nice
extra pass to Pike. He can't finish. A costly miss for the losers as time winds down. Overlock on the pull-up. No good. And the quick rebound.
Got to get some shots up here.
Paps driving in. The flick shot got blocked. The rebound no good either, and Fritz gets the rebound as time continues to wind down with 15 seconds to go.
That should do it.
And it's looking like as the crush, as Grady takes one more shot for 3, and it goes. An exclamation point on this one as the crush cruise to the 13-4 victory. Just a dominating effort in the first half led to, I wouldn't say an equally dominant, but being able to hold the losers to only 4 points in the game to get the opening game victory.
Impressive performance there. Team Crush moved the ball well. Had a moment there where it looked like it was going to slip away from them, and they came up with a victory. So very impressive as one game in the books in the American Unathletic Association of America League.
As we're going to go roll the Sports Clip MVP, as the AUAA is proudly sponsored by Sports Clips, but only these 5 locations: Milford, Fairfield, Shelton, Brantford, and Norwalk, Connecticut. Visit any one of these 5 Sports Clips for the ultimate MVP haircut experience. Speaking of which, let's take a look at who had the Sports Clip ultimate MVP experience in our first matchup, the one and only Two-A-Days, as he will be joining us for the post-game interview.
Let me see if the microphone works there for Two-A-Days.
As we're going to try and fit Two-A-Days over onto press row, as we're going to have Two-A-Days take a seat here.
Yeah, man.
As really in that first half, you really seemed to take the initiative and take the lead on offense, similar to what you did in the preseason. What were you seeing out there?
Well, I wanted to see what they would give me. So, early off, you got to use teamwork passing to see if I get those shots off. If I couldn't, then I'm going to pass to my teammates that are wide open. I couldn't ask for better guys. Dylan, Todd, Fritz. They're really great teammates.
You hold the losers to no points in the first half, only to 4 points the entire game. Was there some strategy on the defense, or was it just kind of, guard a guy?
Our captain, Fritz, he was right off the bat. He's like, play defense. We could get points, but he wanted defense, and that's what we gave him.
You told me earlier today that you were feeling a little bit under the weather. I mean, how are you feeling right now after that performance?
Hey, you got to put it all behind you and just play hard, play through anything,
Dan Overlock, Two-A-Days, our MVP for Game 1. And stick around as Game 2 between Against the Grainers and Big Faller Brand coming at 1 o'clock. We hope you'll stay with us as we got another good one on hand. The team led by Sean O'Connor taking on the team led by Andrew Perloff. We hope you stay with us. one in the books. We're just about set for Game 2 from the Dan Patrick Show Fieldhouse as the Big Faller brand are prepared to take on against the Grainers. Thank you once again for joining us, Dan Gardella, joined by the commissioner of the AUAA, Dan Patrick. And Dan, that first game, offense was a little bit of a weak point. But in this game, I think we're going to be able to see a lot more offense.
I don't know if there'll be fireworks. I know there are guys who talk a great game in this matchup here, but it felt like the opening day jitters. That was evident, and I was a little surprised with Paulie Pabst, the losers. I thought they were going to put up a little bit more of a fight than they did.
With that said, we're going to go to our team analysis. We bring back Jay Billis as he did his analysis on the Big Faller brand, I should say.
Big Faller brand led by Seton O'Connor. He's got Mario the intern down low and Tyler the creator somewhere. Mario has the size to do some damage down in the post, even though his vertical is non-existent. But Tyler is the X factor. Sources say he used to be a decent player before he started smoking 2 packs a day. He gets winded now during player intros. Something to keep an eye on.
That was the Big Faller brand's analysis. We now go back to Jay Billis for his analysis on Against the Grainers.
Against the Grainers, led by former Dartmouth junior varsity big man Andrew Perloff. The Pearl drafted Alan Guzzi and Eric Jones as his enforcers around the rim as he recaps the glory days as the Michael Jordan of his dormitory floor in Hanover. This team has 2 guys that can't pass and 1 guy that won't. A very dangerous mix. If Guzzi can't wear a tank top in the games, he may just quit the league. Stay tuned.
And my thanks to Jay Billis because he flew up here on his own dime to do a scouting report, as you would expect Jay to do, and then went back home to be able to kind of process what he saw. And he came up with his scouting reports for both of these teams today.
As the horn sounds, we're ready for Game 2. Big Faller brand against the Grainers. Looking to join the crush as the only teams with opening day victories.
Good-sized crowd here today.
Yeah, you can hear them.
Yeah, they were not pleased with what they saw in the first half of Game 1.
As
McLovin is going to make a big presentation here. He's going to take his pants off. And there you go. McLovin is taking his pants on.
Crowd not liking the
Yeah, wow. That was certainly worth the buildup.
So against the Grainers, we'll start. Andrew Perloff, Alan Guzzi, Eric Jones filling out the team as Perloff will start. And 2 seconds in, takes the first jumper, and it's off the mark. So Seton O'Connor, captain of the Big Faller brand, gives it over to Mario Miranda. He drives, takes 3 steps, and can't lay it in. The fight for the ball goes out of bounds as it's going to go to the Big Faller brand.
Once again, call your own fouls.
As Miranda, the give and go, it kicks off of 3 legs and ends up in Eric Jones' hands. And then he turns it over. Along with O'Connor and Miranda, Tyler, the creator Day, fills out the Big Faller brand as he cuts to the basket and lays it in.
Pass.
Good off-ball movement.
Yeah, that's just speed over size right there.
So the Big Faller brand striking first, as we'll see how Against the Grainers will respond. Perloff picks up his dribble.
Big German, not on. You don't want him on the perimeter. He's not a Dirk Nowitzki-like.
Perloff gets it down low to Guzzi. A beautiful bounce pass to Jones, and he lays it in.
He likes to be called Mr. Jones from the Counting Crows song. He thinks it's written about him.
As we're knotted at 2.
Mario can hit that shot. Nice
the give
pass,
and go
give and
today
go.
once again, but he can't finish this time. As Guzzi gives it back to Perloff. Off 1 foot, he can't get it to go. Maybe a foul called. Players are stopped playing, but Jones is the one who's not, and he can put it in, but they're going to bring it back.
I think there was a foul on that play. Maybe a couple of fouls.
A lot more accessories being worn in Game 2 than in Game 1.
Yeah, McLovin's got the shooter sleeves. Alan Guzzi, the IT guy with no sleeves.
As Perloff
And
finds a
there's
wide
the
open
big-
Jones.
Oh!
He can't finish. Lots of missed layups through the first game and change as Day runs down the loose ball and can't lay it in. As O'Connor tries to scale the wall, but it goes out of bounds. Two and a half minutes in, we're still tied at 2.
When you take it up top of the key, you do have to pass it in. You can't create a shot on your own.
O'Connor trying to get past Perloff. Good defense.
Seaton.
Yes.
Wow.
Jack, the double team. Miranda, Day right inside the free throw line. He can't finish.
Nice
But
rebound.
Miranda
Nice rebound.
fighting for it. Thought it was a fadeaway shot. Instead, it was a pass to O'Connor, but he misses. And it goes out of bounds. So still no real offense through the first 3 minutes now. 0 for 3 early is O'Connor. As he'll look to make up with it on the defensive end. Perloff has been quiet as well. Guzzi gets the pump fake. He'll drive in before kicking it back out. Perloff puts O'Connor to the ground but can't finish. Gets the offensive rebound and still can't finish.
Oh. Nice rebound.
Crowd not happy by the lack of offense. As Perloff to Guzzi, just inside the free throw line, no good. Perloff once again on the offensive rebound, can't finish. Guzzi for the third time, it falls. Alan Guzzi, the no sleeve uniform.
And he tucks in his jersey.
As Day trapped down low by Jones. Remember, he had a serious pick set on him in the preseason.
Preseason, yes.
Put him on his backside. He airballs the jumper.
Yeah, these two, they had a run in.
Guzzi will try again and banks it in.
The IT guy.
This shouldn't come as a surprise. He did beat his 14-year-old son in a free throw shooting contest, so.
So he says, no video. Probably the
Miranda on the reverse can't get it to go.
Alan Guzzi probably in better shape than anybody out here. You can't leave McLovin open too many times because he's a very dangerous shooter.
Another miss, however, for him. He's 0 of 5 to start.
Yeah. Yep.
Do you think it's the arm sleeves that are slowing him down?
No, I just think it's the regular season. These guys all caught up preseason, having fun. And then all of a sudden, this is real. This is serious. I thought we'd see a little more offense out of this guy.
O'Connor.
And
the flip up and it goes. There's your highlight.
Yep. Okay.
He's clapping like he planned it, but we all know it was a rescue line there. It's now 6-4. Perloff picks up his dribble again. He's been getting D'd up so far.
I never thought that Allen, the IT guy, would be their go-to guy. I would have thought they're doubling. They may be doing a box and one on McLovin. The big German underneath.
Can't finish. Miranda with the rebound. As the pass down low got picked off by Guzzi. Perloff the fadeaway, leaves it short once again. O'Connor whiffed on the rebound, and it ends up in Day's hands. He's now triple teamed.
There you go.
The pass out. Eric Jones with a little screen close out there, scared Miranda a little bit.
Oh, boy.
O'Connor for 3. It's good. And the big Faller brand takes their first lead of the night. 7-6 with 42 seconds to go in the first half. Perloff from short range, that's money.
Yeah.
Andrew Perloff on the board for the first time. It's 8-7 with half a minute to go.
Oh, they're trying to tire out the big German.
Day loses his footing. He's looking for someone. 15 seconds to go. He'll throw it up instead. It just nicked the rim.
10 seconds. They get a shot off.
Guzzi with the jumper. No good. 3 seconds. 2, 1. The
Didn't
shot
get it off in time.
does not count as we go to the halftime break against the Granners, holding on to the 8-7 lead in a far more entertaining first half. As really, Alan Guzzi, the main spark plug for this offense for against the Granners to help them get this halftime lead.
Yeah, a little bit of a surprise, but it felt like if they were gonna lose, they were gonna lose with the IT guy shooting. And there he is. He's a spirited little guy. Wouldn't officially measure in because I think he thought he was going to be around 5'4", but he is athletic and he can cook, he can clean, he can also fix your computer, and he's hit a couple of shots today.
Let's take you to the first half highlights, and there were plenty of them compared to the first game. As really, the beginning, it was just good ball movement after we've seen all day. The first basket of the game going to a cutting Tyler Day.
Yeah.
But then in the second half, Alan Guzzi, he scored, got doubled a little bit, but found the open man. The big German converting down low. And then, do we want to say SC top 10 or not top 10?
Oh, you got to make, that's got to make SportsCenter highlight.
As the scoop shot by O'Connor goes in. As we take a look at the first half stats, the main thing, McLovin, 1 of 7 in that first half, really struggled on the offensive end.
And he had his shots. He did. He had his opportunities there, and I would expect to see the true McLovin, the guy who played basketball at Dartmouth on the junior varsity team. I think that he'll appear second half.
Seeing O'Connor, 2 of 3, 5 points already. You'd like to see him shoot a little bit more?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, but I think he's trying to spread it around, get his teammates involved. Mario's been known to mope when he doesn't get the ball, and I think Seton is just trying to keep him in the game a little bit here.
As the team's getting their final warm-ups, little intimidation factor going on between Jones and Miranda so far. As the Big Faller brand will start with the ball to begin the second half as the clock needing to be reset.
And Paulie Pabst from the Losers is going to step in. I have to speak to some journalists here from the New York Times about the league. And
well, thank you for your time, Mr. Commissioner.
Thank you, Danny.
Now joined on the broadcast by the captain of the Losers, Paul Pabst, and this is some good basketball.
Wow.
Do we want to talk about that first game?
Let's focus on the basketball in front of us, not our horrendous loss and all my missed shots.
As Day gets things started quickly with a basket off the window, and the Big Faller brand claiming the lead again.
Tyler Day, a lot of energy for a 2-pack-a-day smoker.
Guzzi giving it to Perloff. He's really asking for the ball. He goes to the reverse. It misses. And Jones, fighting, throwing elbows, gets it back out.
The round mound of
Guzzi can't hit. And Perloff on the offensive rebound banks it in.
You know, Perloff had a rough first half, not scoring a lot, but I think he's going to heat up because he's a known scorer. He always likes to shoot.
Perloff now 2 of 8 in the game, only 1 of 7 in the first half. However, against the Granners, still lead by a point.
Big 3 late in the half by Seton O'Connor to keep them alive.
As Miranda on the cutting, couldn't get it to fall. Now against the Granners, will look to build onto their lead. McLovin again.
McLovin with that headband kind of looks like Christopher Walken in The Deer Hunter, doesn't he?
A little bit. Yeah, I could see it. 12-9 the score.
A lot of cutting by
Miranda
Tyler Day.
Getting it to O'Connor. Only 2 of 3 in the first half, but 5 points. The 3-man weave. Day fakes out McLovin, can't get it. The tip out to O'Connor, who hesitated. Instead, he'll bank it off the glass and in.
Yeah, O'Connor having a nice night. Started a little slow. He had the long, lanky Perloff on him, so he tried to get his team involved in the offense.
12-11. Minute and a half into the second half. McLovin getting the screen. Got Miranda the jump. He'll give it over to Guzzi.
Oh, pump fake. Left him.
As he gets composed and still can't hit the layup. Or the bank shot, I should say. As now O'Connor with the mismatch, he's got Jones on him. He'll go right by him, bounce pass down low, deflected, and stripped away by O'Connor.
No jump ball in our league.
O'Connor will elect to give him the ball, and then McLovin will give him the ball right back.
Getting a little chippy.
The ref should be on high alert right now.
We had one.
Day going up and down.
That's an up and down. No matter what neighborhood you come from. Right, Danny?
That's turnover.
Standing room only in this place for the second game.
Fans on their feet as the IT guy gives it back out. McLovin sets, drives right by, and still can't hit. The big German kicks it back out, and Guzzi will set things up again.
Oh.
As he loses the ball, falls, gets up, and airballs the jumper. Miranda going baseline and lays it in.
The explosiveness, like a young Steve Francis.
Lulled Jones to sleep and went baseline. And the big Fowler brand now lead 13-12 with just under 4 minutes to play. Cross-court pass to Guzzi. Perloff gets it back. He can't hit the jumper. He missed it left. But he'll try again, and it rolls in.
Oh, yes. Alan Guzzi for the against the Grainers did a party pump before the game. Buys, tries, and chest.
You can see it with the cut sleeves as O'Connor on the cut had it taken away. McLovin 3 of 6 in the second half after starting 1 of 7.
Guzzi kind of reminds you of Bull from Fast Break, the Gabe Kaplan movie.
The deflection by O'Connor keeps possession with against the Grainers. Everybody taking a deep breath as it's now crunch time here in game 2 of day 1 in the American Unathletic Association of America. Jones with the shallow jumper.
Straight out of Dusseldorf. That guy can shoot from 4 to 6 feet like nobody's business.
16-13.
This is anybody's game, Dan.
3-point game. Big Fowler brand looking to respond. Haven't been able to hold on to the lead as Miranda gets swallowed up by the defense.
After 5.5 steps.
And he'll reward himself with a foul call. And give it back to the Big Fowler brand with under 2.5 minutes to go.
Good ball move, Big Fowler brand.
Driving in, the one-handed flip shot, no good, and Guzzi skies for the rebound.
Gonna get a dime under his shoes.
Jones kicks it out. Perloff wide open from the left elbow, and he's got it.
Starting to heat up. Eric Jones' nickname should be 3 seconds because he just camps out in the lane.
There's call your own fouls, but no call your own 3 seconds. As the clock continues to tick down.
I'm not even sure who's winning. Can't tell with the scoreboard.
Against the grain, looking for the defensive stop. Day with 600 pump fakes. Gives it to O'Connor, who flips it just a bit long.
Tyler Day looked like Sergio Garcia lining up a drive.
McLovin turns O'Connor around, but can't finish. And another foul called. Crowd chanting defense. A Big Fowler brand heavy crowd today. As Jones with a quick jumper got blocked by Miranda, and he converts.
Yeah, our rules, if the ball doesn't hit rim, you can put it back up. Heads up play by Miranda.
3-point game as we near a minute to go.
McLovin has to take the controls here.
He gets one dribble, pull up. Oh, that's a dagger.
Yeah. That's his range, 9 to 11. I know it's early, but
O'Connor for 3, it rims out.
They need
Fight
that.
for the ball, it goes into Jones' hands, and it gets deflected out of bounds.
Off the I-beam. You never have that happen in big-time basketball.
Against the Grainers can take their time.
I put the trap on.
McLovin knows. He picks up his dribble, trying to find someone. He gets Guzzi down low. 24 seconds to go.
Get it back to the Pearl.
As he gets deflected out of bounds. But it stays with against the Grainers. Time running down. And this may do it.
McLovin's going to pad his stats.
Perloff gets it down low, looking to get one final assist. Jones got it blocked. It gets put up and in, but it's just a bit short. As against the Grainers will pull away with the 20-17 victory to improve to 1-0 on the season.
Dan, I can say this right now. That might be the greatest game in AUAA history. I know it's a little presumptuous to me, but I'm going to remember where I was for this one.
We're going to look to see if anyone can top it in week 2 as day 1's done, as the Crush take the victory in game 1 and against the Grainers in game 2. I would say a lot of great basketball, but a lot of great laughs for sure.
Yeah, I think I was 0 for the day. I think I was like 0 for 8 from the field. I had about 7 open layups, hit none of them. But I look good going in the lane, just not known as a finisher around the rim.
As we take a look at some of the highlights, close game throughout, but ultimately the Big Faller brand just couldn't mount that final comeback.
Yeah, McLovin, a little slow start, but then he put in the bed at a couple jumpers late in the game.
As the highlights are in, day one's done, as we are ready to present our Sport Clip MVP, as we're going to take a look at the highlights of our MVP, as the AUAA is proudly sponsored by Sport Clips, but only in these 5 locations: Milford, Fairfield, Shelton, Brantford, and Norwalk, Connecticut. Visit any one of these 5 Sports Clips for the ultimate MVP haircut experience. Speaking of which, let's take a look at who had the Sports Clips ultimate MVP experience in our second matchup. It is Andrew Perloff, the team captain of Against the Grainers. You struggled in the first half a little bit, but really came on in that second half to help your team. What fire was lit under you to perform like that in the second half?
I had trouble with the physicality of the other team. Basically, every time I drove, I would run into Mario because he takes up half the lane, and he's very good on defense. That caused me a lot of problems. It was teamwork, though. It was the big German in the middle. It was Allen just flexing on the board. Because they're a really good team, by the way. I got to tell you, we beat the best of the best, except for maybe the other 2 teams in the league. Those are my top 3 other than our team.
Alan Guzzi, had the 4 points to really help you guys in that first half. But, other than that, 16 shots for you. Was it clear that you wanted to have the ball in crunch time?
I guess so, because there's always a fear that Eric is going to turn the ball over when he shoots. Now, that headshot of Eric, by the way, it's interesting. That's from his brief stint in prison. Many people did not know that.
Really?
Yeah.
So 1-0 on the year. 1-0 on the year.
Upstate, yeah.
Looking to go 2-0 next week. What's going to be the message to your team as you get ready for the second game?
Stay healthy. I think we need to work on our ball movement. I'll admit I have to work on my shooting. I think my teammates carried the day. I'm sitting here representing Alan and Eric. I honestly could not have played worse, but the big German and Alan are strong teammates.
It's Andrew Perloff, the MVP of Game 2, as that wraps up day 1 of the AUAA 3-on-3 League. We're back next week as we take a look at next week's matchups. And really, it's going to be a doozy as Paul Pabst and the Losers take on Against the Grainers and Team Perloff, as really the Losers looking to avoid going 0-2 to start the year. And then on the second game, we have a doozy as the Crush and the Big Faller brand. Same story, Crush looking to improve to 2-0 with the team captain, Todd Fritz, leading the way. And that'll wrap it up for day 1 of the AUAA 3-on-3 League. Like I said, we're back next week, 12:30 is the first game. Great basketball? No. Funny basketball? Absolutely. We hope you join us next week. Until then, I'm Dan Gardella.